Shalom, shalom. This is the fourth mile inspiration with Pastor T, and so today I wanted to talk to you about the Gideon experience. As I was walking today, that's what I was reflecting on. This is the story of Gideon, which is found in Judges from chapter 6 to chapter 8. And a lot of us may know of this story, and the first thing that comes into mind is the fact that Gideon was a weakling. To a certain extent, he was afraid. And God was giving him this vision and who he really is, and to the point where the angel speaking to him or addressed him as a man of valor, even though Gideon was afraid. And so in this scenario, God, the Israelites are about to go to war with the Midianites. And then God asked Gideon to be the military army, to be the commander-in-chief of the Israelite army. And but Gideon was afraid. He didn't know how he would do that because he didn't really trust the mental, or if you will, or the purpose for which God had put him in this place at this very time. So then in selecting the army, Gideon called all the men of Israel to come and join the army, because I guess in his mind he was thinking the more people I have, the Midianites were a big, very big army, and also very powerful army. And so from a physical perspective, Gideon wanted to match the army of the Midianites with the numbers. And so he called all the men of Israel, and then God told him that no, he needs to reduce them. So then it's interesting because it says that when God told him how to, he gave him a strategy of how he can reduce this army. So rather than just saying, okay, people from A to C with the last name A to C, you are remaining and everybody else go home. No, God said straight up, ask who is afraid. The same fright that the same feeling of being afraid that Gideon had, but God was turning it around and asking him to ask everyone else. So sometimes we dismiss ourselves because we have weaknesses. We dismiss ourselves because everybody knows that so and so has gone through this, and how can they then lead someone? So we dismiss ourselves, and so God will put us in the forefront because of, oh my God, in spite of, I love this God, in spite of the challenges that you have gone, God can also lift you to a place where he says, even with that, I still want you to take lead on this. Even with that, I still want you to have a ministry that does this. How many people who have had children out of wedlock, people who have been to jail, people who have murdered. Look at Apostle Paul. People who have done some atrocious stuff, or who feel like their lifestyle was not pretty, and yet God calls them into ministry, or God calls them to do a certain assignment. This God, we are going to talk about that later, but today I want to talk about this Gideon army. So God then Gideon, when he straight up asked, how many of you are afraid? Who is afraid to go to war? And then he was left with 22,000. And even with that 22,000, they were still afraid. There were still too many, according to God. He said, reduce them. And he reduced them to like 10,000. And then he reduced them again. And God was giving him strategy after strategy how to reduce them. It kind of reminded me of right now we are in quarantine. And it's easy to say, to feel like your safety net, or your safety net, which is your network, your work, your activities that you were doing outside the home. It feels like, then now what? But sometimes God secludes us, or God puts us in a place where no one else can take the glory. What you see, but at the end of the day, Gideon took only 300 people to fight the heavy and experienced army of the Midianites. He ended up taking out 300. Imagine, out of thousands and thousands, God reduced that number. Why did God reduce that number to 300? Because God wanted him to get the glory. God to get the glory. Because had he taken all those and they defeated the Midianites with that big army, guess what? The Israelites would have gone like this. Yes, we did it. We did it. But God wanted to show his might. God wanted to show his might not just to the Israelites, but also to the opposing army, the Midianites. So sometimes God, right now, I want to believe that God is secluding us. He is putting us in a place where we only have our 300 army. And our 300 men army can be your family. Your 300 army can be your partner. Maybe you are in quarantine with just 2 people or with 1 person. Or maybe by yourself. That is your 300 army. God wants his name to be glorified because of what he is about to do through you in your life, in this space where you are. So I want to encourage you to depend on God, to stay on God, to stay in the word, because it is in your relationship with God that he will let you know, and he will bring you out to victory in the same way that he did Gideon and the small army. God bless you. I love you with the love of Christ, and we'll see each other again at the next 4th Mile Inspiration with Pastor T.